Yo, dog. Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you on the literal best of all days. On this Friday, we're going to be doing part 2 of painting some Infinity models. We're going to be painting the next level details on the Pan-Ocean starter set. We're going to be taking some of those sick-ass airbrush fades that we did last week and we're popping them out. Next level technique. Ancient Chinese tricks. This is kind of our formula. I'm going to show you how to date later on the airbrushing and how to get the smooth transitions, and then I'm going to show you to take it to the next level. We're going to try to maintain that pace through 2016. And I'll tell you this right now. If we can get my Patreon page boosted up to a certain level, I haven't decided that level yet, but we are going to be trying some new formats on Patreon. We're talking about rewards, monthly rewards. We're talking about maybe giving away some of the paints that we're using in these videos, steady supply of them, like a gift box, you know. We're going to try to change the parameters of Patreon here really soon. But there will be a number that if I can get it to, we'll go ad-free on even YouTube for the rest of 2016. That simple. But it's going to take a lot more support. We're going to have to change the parameters. We're going to have to give you guys some more incentive. I recognize that my face, though, you know, not too hideous, is not enough incentive for some people. So possibly getting a regular occurrence of some of the paints that we use in these tutorials showing up on your doorstep might be the solution. Anyway, give me some ideas. I'll tell you right now, ideas that I'm going to shoot down are painting models. Impossible to do. I have a full-time commission schedule, so I won't be able to paint models as gifts, but I will be able to, you know, give you something else as a purchase, perhaps. I'm looking forward to your comments. Anyway, let's jump right in this tutorial. It's very tight. It's going to be very nice. Remember, Patreon currently, if you give me $6, I'll give you 2 weeks early access to all my videos and an ad-free experience. And if you give me $20, I'll give you 3 weeks early access in some situations. And a gift. Anyway, let's do it. All right, let's do this thing. Part 2 of painting some Infinity models. This is the Jotun. I think that's what he's called. It's from the Pan-Oceania. We're going with an alternate color scheme. They paint this guy a lot of different ways, but I'm using the Angel Heralda's Masterclass analog tutorial, the book. He recommends using all these colors that I've been using. They're not airbrush colors because I think that they didn't have airbrush colors yet for Vallejo. So we're using dark brush and blue with black, 50-50. We're going to mix them up and we're going to use this to line the dark recesses. And we are using an incredible electric blue on this Jotun, so anyone who sees it online and says, hey, that's not what he's supposed to look like, yeah, I literally don't care. I love this blue. That's what I saw in Angel's book, and I wanted to make this electric blue. My client's happy with it. We're doing the whole Pan-Oceania super blue. Anyway, so let's jump right into it. We're going to take this mixture, we're going to carefully, basically trace these dark lines, these recesses. We're going to do this to create transitions in contrast between the panels. Now, like I just said, a lot of people paint these front panels a different color than the rest of the mech. They go crazy. You know, I could have done that. I wasn't even honestly aware that that's like a way people painted it. I was just going off of these amazing blues that I've seen the Pan-Oceania have, and I just needed to go beast mode. So this is a little bit of a tedious process. You got to be very slow, very methodical here, because I've said it before. These Infinity models are actually low detail. They don't have all the little, you know, crazy ass little cracks and details that like GW does with their models, their plastics. But these models are designed to be painted with detail and utmost care. So you have to be delicate and you have to take your time. Very advanced models to paint to a high level. I am enjoying this. It is very challenging. So you're going to have to spin this thing around, get all the angles right, because you want to draw as many straight lines dragging the paintbrush towards you. I find that is how I maximize my control. And you see how I even got my pinky out braced up against the model. And you notice I actually broke out my latex gloves for this project. Since I'm going to be handling this metal model in so many different ways, I don't want to rub the paint off with the oil on my fingers. So I got my latexes on. And I'm being as careful as possible because this airbrushing that we've done here is very delicate. That's just a pro tip right there. Ancient Chinese trick. So you can see that he's already a different model. He already looks completely different with just those dark lines painted into him. I mean, it's crazy how different he looks. Let's paint this gun. Now we're going to just pull out the Vallejo black. And I will tell you, the Vallejo Game Color Black, it's a great fucking black, man. I used to be one of those guys who said black is black, yo, it don't matter. Well, I was wrong. Vallejo black is pretty sweet. I pretty much love it. It dries very matte. It's almost chalky, but not quite chalky. So it's right in that in-between stage. It just looks amazing. We're gonna pile it on nice and thick. We're actually painting this gun black, and we're gonna do some sick edge highlighting on it here in a minute. And I typically try to avoid black and edge highlighting because this shit pisses me off beyond all belief. But unfortunately, it looks good with this model, so you got to do it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix that Prussian blue back with that black from the original step. And we're going to make another mixture. And I'm going to use this to highlight black. See, now we just use this to darken areas in that blue. But this actually also is a really good highlight for the black gun that we just did. And it will have a complement to the rest of the model. I love it when I can incorporate a highlight on a part of the model that is complemented by a color on the other on the model. So this makes me really happy. We're going to very carefully trace this gun. Like I said, this is why I hate about edge highlighting. It's just tracing. It takes almost no skill. It's all technique. It's about being patient, not jumping the gun, and laying down your layers. You know, thin layers work here. You know, sometimes even I mess up and I try to go on too thick because I try to cut corners, and then you end up with a really thick, real thick line there that you don't want. You got to be subtle. So the Vallejo Game Color paints, they're literally the best for this kind of stuff. And you can see that my tracing is paying off here. It's starting to look exciting. I'm very happy with it so far. Now we're gonna up the ante with a little pure white. And we're going to trace those edges with a little pure white, but just a little bit. I want it to have that gleam. I want it to have that pow, you know? I don't want to just retrace every line. And first off, I would literally kill myself if I had to trace every line 50 times on a model. That shit is not in the next level painting playbook. I'll get a different playbook. Y'all start deflating footballs. Anyway, let's mix a little of that dark Prussian blue with some white. Now, this is something I do that Angel doesn't do in his guide. He straight up just goes to white. He's like, fuck it, white. Let's go crazy with the transitions. I mean, I'm all about transitions, but I'm just not comfortable enough going pure white. I went with a mid-tone first and mixed a little bit of a little bit of that blue in with it. And so basically, I'm going to trace all the edges of this blue with this mixture I just made. I want to make it super, super clean. I'm going to be very methodical, and I ain't gonna fuck up because you don't want to go back if you fuck this up. It's all about tracing here. Tracing's easy, right? It's easy as long as you're patient. Once we establish all the tracing with this mixture, we're gonna come back in, and you can guess that we're gonna do something similar to what we just did on that gun. But I am gonna make you watch all of this because I had to do it, so you're gonna watch it right now. You're going to watch me trace every fucking panel on this guy. I will note, though, that these Infinity models are very advanced. I mean, it was a challenging paint job. And I paint models literally 8 hours a day. You can see it coming together right here. Now, these are the panels you want to pay really close attention to, like these on this chest plate. You can't fuck these up. You got to be on point with those. You can't slack. You know, turn your music off. Stop watching Netflix. Focus on this part, man. I'm telling you, you can't fuck this up because it's really hard to undo this if you fuck it up. So now we're just gonna rapid fire, hit all those panels, and we're gonna start building those lines up thicker and thicker, pass by pass, keeping the paint really, really thin. You know, like I said, I'm gonna start mixing a little bit of pure white in as I go, and I'm gonna start dropping some of those whites off in the 90-degree cuts, like we did on that gun's barrel. We want to give it that final plow. That's a technical term. That's an onomatopoeia for baller mode. We're gonna just hit it with that pure white, make it gleam, pay attention to everything. And look at that fucking leg. That's a beautiful leg, man. Like, I'm really happy with the way this model's coming out. He's making me very happy right now. Like, you don't get to really have such an electric blue very often. Like, imagine an Ultramarines 40K army painted this way. You know, I was really happy to have picked up this this guide and just expand my horizons a little bit with some of these Vallejo colors that I have been using. I've been using the model, the game colors. Anyway, back on track. You saw we picked up a little bit of this Cavalry Brown and a little bit of this orange brown color by Vallejo, and we're gonna paint the barrels, or not the barrels, but I guess the ammo canister. Like, I guess this thing's got a flamethrower built into it, so we're gonna go in there, paint it solid, paint it solidly with those two mixed actually 50-50 together. We're not just doing the Cavalry Brown and then the highlight color. We're actually going 50-50 on those. We're gonna take that orange brown after we're done laying this 50-50 down, and we're gonna start building up some highlights. Basically, what we just did with all that blue, we're about to do on these. And this is a great color choice because this combines orange with brown, and orange is the complement to blue. But we're skewing the palette just enough not to be obvious, but to be something you can believe. And this idea eventually led me to my decision on how I wanted to paint the base for this guy. And so as I was painting these ammo canisters on this gun, I was like, you know what would be fucking amazing? If I took this same color palette to the base. You know what I'm saying? Like, airbrush the base, give it some sick dry brushes, some sick highlights, use exactly the same colors for the most part. So it would have that complement to another item on the model. I've heard it said before that you should repeat colors just to tie it in, you know, tie in the complement. So we're going to tie in the base with these canisters, but also we're using literally a complementary color to the model. Like, this is a great model, and like, I can't say enough good things about it. Like, I do recommend possibly going back and watching the first video on this guy, and possibly maybe not using the Vallejo surface primer if you're ham-fisted like I am, because I did start having problems keeping the paint on the model as I went on, because the surface primer just wasn't good enough for me. But that could be maybe I don't have a delicate enough touch. Anyway, one of the final things we're going to do here is we're going to pull out the Vallejo sepia wash, and we're going to go back inside the ammo canister here, and we're going to trace in a dark line. Now, you watched us. We did exactly the same thing we did on the blue here on this canister. We did the Cavalry Brown mix, and we went back in and traced some of the edges there on that canister with the orange brown. Then we're taking the sepia and we're just drawing some lines in those crevices. This is very similar to the stage where we mixed the Prussian blue with the black and traced in all those recesses on Joe Tum's armor. This is all just the same technique repeated with different colors. You can apply this to literally any model in 40K. Now let's see it. Here he is. Let's put him on his new base. I'm sorry I didn't do a tutorial on this base, but I've done enough of those. I wanted to give you guys a quality tutorial on painting this model. And I do believe that complement is there. There's some contrast and complement. This model came out great. I am very proud of it. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I'll hit you up next week with something even more exciting. Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.